Right, so let's get on. So this is the task, right? Mr Matias, calculated personal history. So first we go to the task. We refer to an emergency cardiologist, urgent assessment and advice, management of acute heart failure, okay. Assessments, biventricular heart failure, Q wave, dim, okay. Bit fat, okay, blood pressure. Okay, let's get on with it then. So I'm going to put some changes on here, and I'll save this. I'm writing to refer urgent assessment of this patient. Right, well, first you need a subject. Who are you referring? Well, look, it says Dr. Mohammed. You can see that's whose letter. Everybody's letter. We've got a name on it. Right, so how many letters are we going to discuss? How many we get through? We'll see. I don't know. Right, so I'm writing to refer for an assessment of this patient. So we either need a subject or an object here. So either you are writing to, I'm writing to you to refer, or I'm writing to refer this patient to you. So we've got to change this. So I'm writing to refer to you. So the task said, what was it? Urgent assessment and advice. So it's not simply I'm writing to, so I do something like this. I'm writing to request your urgent assessment. Yeah. So I would probably do, so make sure it is clear who you're writing to. I'm writing to request your urgent assessment and management of this patient and signs and symptoms. Okay, good, right. So don't forget, either make it a subject or an object, okay? I'm writing to request your urgent assessment, okay? So today, Mr. McCarthy presented with heart failure. Did he present? What? He came into the surgery and he said, oh, I've got heart failure. Now, I have to say, these case notes are not so good. It doesn't really tell us what the context is. If you are in hospital or if he's come into the surgery, it's not, these are not the best case notes I've ever seen, but no. He has been experiencing worsening instruction over the past 4 months, exercise tolerance and noticeable increase in ankle swelling. Okay, he was evaluated. Okay, that is good, yeah. Well, you don't need to say this, a kindly note. Is he going to unkindly note? You know, what is the opposite? Unkindly note? So you don't need that. Either say for your information or please note, and that would do. Fine. He has, right. Well, we need to use present perfect. So he has had, because it began in 1999, yeah? So he has now, yes, but it started in 1999, so we have to make it present perfect. He has had a history of type 2 diabetes, 99, 2006, and ischemic heart disease in 2011. He had, okay, it's just a simple past. But in the same year, pure control DM, he suffered from many complications. Well, I don't really know if we need to know he's retired, what he's pensioner. I mean, is it clear? Well, I mean, does it say from the start? Your date of, you know, I mean, this letter here, it doesn't have the address on it or the date of birth, so I don't know if the author did include it. So if you included the date of birth, then we would guess he's retired. Okay, regarding social history, ex-smoker, he is obese, his current medications include. This doesn't seem to be quite finished. I don't know why. Well, okay, I mean, it doesn't seem to be finished or complete, so I don't know. But that aside, all I would do, I would make it clear from the introductory sentence, right? Who you are writing and what you are requesting them to do. I'm writing to request your urgent, or I'm writing to you to ask for your blah, blah, blah. And kindly note, we don't really need that as an adverb. He has had, make it present perfect because since 1999, blah, 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 okay? Instead of simple past. Okay, let's have a look. So, anybody got any questions about that one? It didn't seem very complete, but still, I mean, this seems to have more information, so this looks better. Nobody got any questions? Okay, and let's get on. Dr. Sahar, let's have a look. Dr. Sutton, okay, RE. I thought we were doing the Matias letters. Why do we have a different patient? Okay, well, Joseph, are you there? Why do we have a different letter included here?
Sorry, it must be a mistake. And then we could skip that one, go to the next one, because we have more letters.
Yeah, because I don't have the notes for this one.
No.
I'll tell you what I'll do.
That one.
I'll just have a quick look and check it for spelling, grammar, and punctuation. And I can't really make any other comments because I don't have the notes. But we'll just have a quick look just in terms of grammar. Okay? Okay, so that's good. We've got the date of birth. Okay, Mr. McGarry. Okay, but we don't really need this because, you know, we can see it here in the date of the birth. Who is known case? Well, right, case is a noun. So it's either who is known to have or who is a known case, because it's a noun phrase. So we need an article there. There's no case with worsening of symptoms, with worsening symptoms. Don't need your preposition. Your further assessment. Management is an ex-smoker. Well, we know that, so why did you say it twice? Okay, who had been smoking but quit smoking 5 years ago. Iron. Sisters, please note he has been immunized. Well, okay, I would have probably, I mean, I haven't seen the notes. I would have put this lower down. I would have put it lower down. Mr. McGarry, the subsequent visits, he had history, had a history. Again, because it's a noun, I would probably put an article there. History of frequent hospitalization, treated with Manchester. In addition, there was commenced. Okay. On review, examination revealed on reduced breast sound, test respectfully. Now, that's a good phrase based on the above information. Kindly, you don't have to say kindly. They will do it anyway, you know? That's their job. You don't have to kindly do this, kindly do that. Just ask them. Basically, more of information or make personal. I ask or I request that you do this. Take this patient into your care. Oh, okay. So apart from a couple of articles, the grammar in that is good. I don't have a case note, so I can't make any further comment. Okay, back to Mr. Matias. I think it's Mr. Matias, but okay. Does matter. Writing to refer Mr. Matias, a diabetic and hypertensive patient. Features are consistent for urgent assessment. The management, good. Now that's what you need to put right in the start. What do you want the recipient of this letter to do? What do you want them to do? Not, I am writing to refer you, blah, 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 and not say. So always, what does the task say? So writing to, I would be tempted to, instead of breaking it up, you know, I'm writing to refer and then say whose features are blah, blah, blah for urgent. I would be tempted to put this at the start. I'm writing to refer for your urgent assessment and management. Yeah, you know. So I don't really see the need to break it up. I would put it right at the start. I'm writing to refer for your urgent assessment. Get that in first, and then say, you know, who, why, what. Initially, Mr. Matias presented me to we've decreased the history. However, he denied. Now, okay, right. Why would now denied? That's not good as a verb. You deny committing a crime. You deny being a murderer. You don't. I deny I have no chest pain. That's not a very good verb. And it doesn't, you know, it's a very short sentence. And you add this to the sentence because it just reads kind of strange. So he has got this and this and this, and then stop. However, he denied chest pain. Just doesn't flow, you know. So you could with deterring how. However, he had no chest pain. You know, yeah, such as yeah. He despite this, he had no chest pain. There was no chest pain present, or something such as that. Just, you don't really need such a short sentence that is dropped in, you know, because one of the things the examiners want, they want a letter to flow, have a natural kind of a flow. It's meant to be a letter. So if you drop in these kind of sentences that don't connect or don't have an introductory expression to the previous one, it does look like case notes, you know, drop. So examination at that time revealed yes, you need an article, yeah. Despite a, don't need article there because you've got normal vital signs. So you don't need that, but you do need that, okay? You need a definite article there, but you don't need indefinite there. Good, that confirmed my diagnosis. Very good phrase. To answer your question, the definite article there, yes, indefinite article here, we do not need, okay? Just a grammar note. Medical history is a known case hypertension, disease, diabetic, hypertensive. He needs an urgent, don't need an article there, just urgent admission. The emergency department looking at care and supervision, very good, yeah. Okay, well, we've got urgently, urgent. I don't know if we need to say it twice. Sorry. So, urgently seeing, hang on. So urgently seeing Mr. Matias, who I believe that who I believe needs. We don't need that, we can take out that. But you're saying Mr. Matias, who I believe needs urgent admission. Okay, so apart from the grammar, that's good. Looks a little bit long. We just check the wordage, check the word count, and just have a look. It looks a little bit long. Let's confirm or deny this. 224, you could maybe cut it down a little bit. I don't know if we need all the jargon in this particular paragraph here. But in general, though, not bad at all. Okay, somebody else, no name on this one. Don't know whose it is. The author might recognize it. This letter to refer Mr. Matias position for urgent management. Again, I don't know why people break it up. Put it at the start. And who are you referring to? But to refer for urgent management, Mr Matias, or refer Mr Matias for urgent management, whose symptoms are, then you could make it a relative clause. Yeah. So, and we don't, as again, we don't need it, because look, we can read, you know, so you don't have to include it twice. Don't need it twice. I would now, examiners do like you to include relative clauses because it looks good, you know. So we've got whose. So I am writing this letter to refer for your urge management, Mr Matias, whose symptoms and signs, or well, symptoms and signs. It collocates like whose signs and symptoms. We don't usually say whose symptoms and signs. The collocation, words which fit, which are associated, it's usually signs and symptoms. So hang on, somebody's made a comment. What? Can you please write introduction? Fantastic. Start writing like this. The next sentence. Okay, right. Well, if I were to write this, right, I would probably do it something like writing to request. So you want urgent assessment, yeah? I'm writing to request your urgent assessment for, I mean, the management part, we don't really need it, because it's obvious that he's not just going to assess him and not do anything about it. You know, he is going to be doing something about it, because he's being sent, you know, so you are sending the patient to him. So he's not just going to assess him and say, okay, that's it, bye. Obviously, he's going to do something about it. So you don't really need to include a management. If you want to, okay. Went to request your urgent assessment. But I think it's kind of obvious from the context. And management for Mr. Matias, and then make it a relative clause. Whose signs and symptoms, because that it collocates, not symptoms and signs. I've always heard it, people saying signs and symptoms, not symptoms and signs. Signs and symptoms are suggestive of blah, 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 etc. Okay? Signs and symptoms. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so that's how I would do it, right? That's how I would do it. We don't need to put the age down, because we can read. He's a man, unless he's a trans, which I doubt it, but you never know. He's a man. He's got a man's name, 61. Okay, we don't have to say anything else. I'm writing to request your urgent assessment and management. It can either be of or for. Yeah, I think of Mr. Matias, whose signs and symptoms are suggestive of, etc., etc. Yeah, so that's how I would do that. So the reader, right? First sentence, I'm writing to request. Oh, urgent, right. What's the problem? What do I have to do? They immediately know right from the opening first few words that this is important. I've got to do this. Okay, let's take a look. So, past medical history. Thanks for the company has reported with diabetes, hypertension. He was a smoker. That's 35 years. He was a smoker. Well, was it 35 years? Because he stopped a few years back. And if you're using a time for a period and the adverb for, it would usually be present perfect. He has been. Yeah, unless, but he quit. So you need to clarify this. So in general terms, right, if you've got a period and you're using the adverb for, it should be present perfect. He has been. Yeah, or he was a smoker for 35 years until a stopping 7 years ago. So if you're going to write a sentence like this, right? So how that sentence is now, to make it grammatically correct, you have to make it present perfect, okay? But if you want to use the past, he has been, yeah, you would probably do it like he was a smoker for 35 years until he quit. Well, I'll put it in figures, until he quit 7 years ago. Okay, so if you want to use a simple past, then you'd have to say that. If you want to use it like that sentence, then present perfect. He has been. Okay, on 3rd of 11th, he turned my clinic complaining of edema without chest pain for the last 2 months. I said edema without any chest pain. Okay, yeah, so this is what I meant when I was talking about in the previous letter. Instead of simply having that a sentence, he denied having a chest pain, you can include it in that sentence. He also mentioned reducing the ability of what he was on. So how this reads, it reads as if he was talking about he was reducing the ability of exercise tolerance. So that's, he also mentioned a reduction in his ability to exercise. So you say, so he also mentioned a reduction in his ability to. Okay, and his ability. So I would, oops, 10 minutes left. Okay, right. Sorry. So he also mentioned a reduction in his ability to exercise. That's better. And difficulty to sleep, or difficulty in sleeping in a lying position. Apart from being overweight and having evidence of ankle edema, the vital signs were normal, or his, because it's supposed to be complete sentences. So we need a pro now. His other vital signs were normal, just information. I think it's beep, version, ECG, bit of jargon there. Okay, I believe in needed assessment. In addition, your advice. That seems a bit of an add-on. I believe he needs urgent assessment and advice. I won't just put that in addition your advice. It doesn't read particularly well. It needs urgent assessment. Okay, I would be grateful if you could assess and manage his condition as you think appropriate. Well, you've kind of said that in the previous sentence, so you don't need to say it twice. Okay, so not too bad, a bit of grammar, maybe just work on a couple of sentences. Okay, I've got 8 minutes left, so I'll save this file and I'll send it back. And we've got some more. How many letters have we got here? We've got 4, 8 minutes. Probably won't be able to do them all, but I'll probably do another session this afternoon. Now my computer seems to be working again. So Matias, okay, well, if you've got the date of birth, which you should have, you don't really need this. Do we need to know this? He's a cabinet maker. Is that important? Don't think so. Who had history and his clinical picture with possible. This looks a little bit long for an introduction. A little bit long. Admission, and I thought it was supposed to be urgent, isn't it? Isn't it urgent assessment? No, can you have a look at him if you've got time? Urgent. So, Mr Matias, so we don't really need that. if you've got the DOB, we don't need that. We certainly don't need to know that he's a cabinet maker. Now his clinical picture is suggestive. I believe his mission is okay, not to stabilize his condition. Okay, it's a little bit long, a bit wordy. We don't need all of that, and you need to mention it's urgent. Get that in somewhere in that introduction. Medical history. Okay, do we need this immediately after this? I would put this down here. I'd put it here after this bit. What you want to tell him first is he presented to me with worsening nerves, unable to do exercise. That's too short. It's almost like a note, not a complete sentence. He presented to me with the working of this. So the first sentence, the first mention, the convention is to use the surname, Mr Matias, I think it is, yeah. And every subsequent use, reference in a paragraph, use a pronoun, his, him, etc. Yeah. Mr Matias, and an inability, and an inability to do exercise, and being unable to. Because if you just leave that, I'm being able to do exercise. Okay, so that's more like a proper sentence. Examination, there's what will do. It's just like bit long. ECG, currently medications. Okay, so I would have put the medical history underneath that. Graduate assessment and measurement currently heart failure. Okay. Let's just check the word count. This is pretty concise. I'm not saying it's, there's anything wrong with conciseness, but it seems to be a bit concise. What is it? 208. So good. Yeah, that's not bad. Let's say, make sure that you mention it's urgent. Okay. Let's see what we've got here. I'm writing I'm writing to request or to ask for your urgent assessment and management of Mr Matias, with signs and symptoms. Good, yeah, you see what they've done there right from the start. They have broken it into two, right at the start. I'm writing for or to ask for your urgent assessment and management of blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's good. When did he present? What's the date? He did not complain. Chest pains, bit short sentence. Again, I would have put that into the previous sentence. Chest examination, reveal, ECG, febrile, blood pressure. Short sentences, it's almost like note form. They don't want note form. They want it like complete sentences. So you could have put some of these into a sentence or two, not having short sentences. You've got 1, 2, 3 short sentences. Hypertension, has hypertension, and was treated accordingly. If you've got a list, the last one needs to begin with and. Okay, and the coming out rate in 2011. So I'm a bit confused here because we don't have any dates of when these events occurred, right? So there's no dates, so I don't know when this occurred. I don't know if the chest examination occurred at the same time. Was it later? It says he's got hypertension now, but then you go into the past. So he has hypertension now, and he was treated in the past, and we're back into the past. So the timeline, the chronology here is not very clear. I'm not really sure what happened when. So you'd have to make sure you put in some dates, a reference to time in this one. Treated a microdiagnosis and appreciated. Okay, so that's not bad. Again, the only thing that I would say is there's no dates, and I'm not really sure what the timeline is here in that letter. Right, so got 2 letters and I've got 2 minutes left. I haven't got time to give a proper analysis, so we'll come back probably a bit later on, in an hour or so, and we'll have a second session. So does anybody quickly have any questions? Anybody got any questions? You can raise your hand, you can type. I'll be coming back. It's just, oh, okay. Shahid?
Yes, good evening, Dr. Shahid. I just want to ask about the smoking history, because he has stopped smoking, and how can we use present perfect for this one?
Well, it's just in the example that I gave, whoever the author was said he was smoking for 35 years. Okay. Well, if you're using the adverbs either for or since, and you have a period of time, 35 years, then you can't use the simple past. You have to use the present perfect. Yeah.
We can use past perfect.
Well, no, because you use past. Well, he had been right. You could use past perfect if you did it something like he had been a smoker for 35 years until he quit 7 years ago. So we've got, because when you use past perfect, you've got 2 past events, both are finished. And
if I will say he had been smoking for 35 years before quitting it 7 years ago.
Well, before quitting or until he quit or stopped, because past perfect.
Both past event.
Yeah, it's like past perfect, and the second event is simple past. So it's just to show the order.
Okay, that's fine. My second question is about this